Today is officially Mario Day, March 10th, 2025, and today we're just talking about everything exciting about Mario Day and just what makes it so special, right? And they have sales and everything. When it comes to Mario Day, it's more fan service and consumers getting excited more than Nintendo themselves giving us a lot of stuff. They gave us a little bit of drip feed and, of course, some sales. I know there's some things going on online physically that people are not agreeing with, and some people are just like, let's just give us another Mario game. We're hoping for like a Jamboree DLC announcement, and maybe they do at some point. But as of right now, I think it's 40 plus years right now, 42, I think, to be exact. If not, it's just 40. I got to do my math better. I know some people were saying 40, some people were saying 42-ish, but yeah, Mario Day is an exciting time because it's just so iconic how long Mario has been around. If you're somebody like me that's been around since dinosaurs were alive, you played the very first Mario on the Nintendo Entertainment System, right? The NES, the 80s, the late 80s actually. And then you went into finally, you know, like your classic Mario, and then you get into like 2, 3, and then now you're finally starting to later graduate into Super Mario World. Super Mario World, I feel, is when it made the huge leap. Super Nintendo in general is when a lot of games made a huge leap. When you went from Mega Man to Mega Man X, we went from like Nintendo to, from Mario to Super Mario, and we went from Metroid to Super Metroid. Like, those games made huge jumps on that new console. So what Nintendo has always been amazing for is just huge jump in their console waves, which is why I am excited for Switch 2. On Mario Day, it's excited because when you see somebody like Mario, who's a juggernaut in gaming, based on a simplified formula, and someone who grew up with this character, which is why it's very personable to me with Mario, or just Nintendo in general, because it's a console I grew up with. Nintendo was never known for like the craziest graphics, but they kept sticking to their simple formula, and it's the same thing with Mario and their branding. They stuck to their simple formula that just still works to this day. That's all we want, and they literally check off the boxes of what we want. We want a 2D platformer. Cool, they keep giving us that. They gave us Super Mario Wonder. They give us crossovers with Super Smash Ultimate. They give us the most crossovers insanely in history in a video game, probably, with some of the biggest iconic characters in there. I mean, we saw like people from Tekken and Street Fighter. Like, you saw Kaz, you saw Ryu, you saw all that stuff. So Mario doing some of the biggest collaboration. You got Sonic in the Mario game in Super Smash. Like, that's crazy, man. Then you get Super Mario Kart, and it debuted back in Super Nintendo times, and Mario Circuit, the soundtrack from that day till now is still in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So that just shows how long the longevity of a simple formula does work. At the end of the day, gaming was something that we want to feel nostalgia based off of, along with some relevancy and brand new stuff. And I feel Mario has done that for the entirety of our lives. I haven't even mentioned Mario Party yet. See, I'm going through like main lines and like spin-offs at the same time, that I feel like Mario is so great with this. And it truly deserves all of their love and appreciation, because what Mario has done for people like me, we grew up with Mario, and to still see how successful Mario is, especially like the Super Mario Bros. Movie being like damn near a perfect movie, is phenomenal. And then you get like the Sonic now, and back then Sonic and Mario were huge back when Sega was actually a console, Sega Genesis, and then you had the Super Nintendo. Those were juggernaut consoles back in the day, of course, before like PlayStation, Xbox launched and all that stuff, and Dreamcast. But yeah, I would say what Mario has done throughout the times. I mean, I just named a whole bunch of franchise games that those are not even like half of the great stuff that he has. Of course, like all the tennis, like Mario Tennis was hilarious, and there's just games like that, golf, volleyball, all that stuff, strikers with soccer. It's something that we as fans will never stop like loving. Me, I could be fucking 80 years old, man, and I'm still gonna love Mario content. And that just goes to show the branding of Mario, and that goes to show how far and how deserving it is for the longevity of this. Mario Day, to me, in my opinion, is just something that I like to play games, of course. So it's fun having my Nintendo Switch. I got my Nintendo Switch right next to me, and I like to boot up Super Smash Bros. And Mario Kart. And when you're looking at like the vast majority, especially a game like Super Mario 64, like if I were to name some of my favorite ones, I'm looking into like Super Mario World SNES. I played that game over and over and over. Like games like Super Mario Maker 2 right now are thanks to games. Basically, it's based off its whole criteria of Super Mario World SNES. You know, the graphics and all that you're looking at is mostly SNES version of Super Mario when you play Super Mario Maker 2. So if you play Mario Maker 2 a lot, then it's a huge nod to the game of Super Nintendo. So if you haven't played the SNES version of Super Mario World, go do it. Super Mario World 2 was kind of whack. Yoshi's Island, I wasn't a huge fan of that. It was just weird in my opinion. But yeah, that one is just really cool. So Super Mario Maker 2, I didn't even mention that, also gives a huge nod to the classic of that. And Smash Bros has all the music in there that we really do love and appreciate. So iconic. But yeah, like I would say when you look at, you know, for me, I'm looking at Super Mario SNES World. And then I look into probably as you're jumping on, I mean, you still get like when you go into 64 after that, I'm looking at Super Mario 64, which was insanely iconic. Because when you look at those types of games now, you're looking at the Super Mario 64 route, and then you look at the Mario Sunshine route, and then you look at Mario Galaxy route, and then you look at the Mario Odyssey route. Those 4 games right there are insanely iconic. Those games are all like we're really begging for a Mario 64 again type. That's why people play it so much still on this to this day. People still play that game, do speed runs and all challenges and stuff. So that's so fun to watch. Odyssey was like a love letter to all of those games combined in one. Except for Sunshine. I think Sunshine is more personal for people that just enjoy that outlook of the game. Like, it was so unique also. I remember playing that, man, on GameCube so many times. And speaking of GameCube, you get other games that are just so fun. I think definitely Sunshine is a game. And you got like Smash Bros. Melee. When Smash Bros. Debuted on 64, it was a game where it was just so cool to see collaborations like that, where it wasn't as normal now as collaborations are in games like Fortnite, Call of Duty. You know, they bring all these collabs over and stuff. It was insanely unheard of to bring like a all-star type game like that. It's like Mario All-Stars, right? There's a Super Mario All-Stars version game for Super Nintendo, and then they also made a later one, right? But like the 3D All-Stars too. But it was like a own version of Supers. It's like Mega Stars, not even All-Stars. Right? Mario has the All-Stars game, but Smash Bros, the debut in 64 was like a Mega Star one, man. You see like Fox, you know, you saw Captain Falcon, you saw Pokemon in there. Like, it was crazy. Pikachu, like, it's like, man, this is so cool. And it was a arena fighting game. It was a fighting game that was family friendly, that had all the specials and all the nods to with the game, and then also like the classic mode and all that. So you saw Smash Bros debut with, you know, and that was thanks to like the Mario World, you know. So that's pretty much the most insane collaboration. Then you get like Melee and Brawl and everything, and then now we got Ultimate, of course, which basically is all those games all condensed into one with better graphics and way more content that we could ever ask for. That all just rivals down to the fact that we're getting Switch 2. We don't know how those games will be topped, but Mario continues to just really raise the bar day in, day out, make it so exciting for gamers like me who literally saw this game evolve. Like, when you're alive to see things like this, there's a few things in life, you know, I know people see like all these other historic things and all that, like older people before us too, but when you're somebody my age who saw something like Mario in the beginning to all the way till now, it's like, man, how cool is this to see a character like there's like a handful of franchises that are actually this long going, you know. Sonic's one of them, you know, like Resident Evil, even Call of Duty is one of them. You know, as much as people don't like Call of Duty right now, like, it's a long franchise that's been going forever. Halo was one of them before this last iteration of a game. There's so many games that it, not like in terms of like many, but like there's like just that, I don't know, man. It's a very, very small amount, but they do something well that just gives back to fans that allows for them to keep going. I wouldn't say so many, but there is a handful of these types of franchises. And there's an even smaller type handful that really is on a Mario level, which is why, like, I think Sonic is probably the only one at this point. And Sonic was even in Smash Ultimate also. So Mario is just probably the greatest gaming essence of all time, the entity, I guess you would say, icon, brand. And it's so cool to see it really evolve the way it has, especially if you grew up with it and you're growing old with it. And it's so cool to see it, man. So I hope everybody does show their appreciation for Mario Day to Day, as I wanted to make this video simply for that, man. And maybe within onward, we'll get another year of it, man. So yeah, I appreciate y'all. Y'all drop y'all thoughts. Do me a favor. Like, let me know your favorite Mario game and why. And what age are you? Like, what game did you start off with? What Mario game did you start off with? I start off all the way at the very first, man. So y'all let me know what's up. I appreciate y'all. Peace.